Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another day in Vlogmas. Not sure what day this video is posting, and I definitely failed at posting every single day throughout the month of December. I did, however, post every single day throughout the month of November, and I will add my November videos maybe to my Vlogmas playlist. So if you're interested in content and want to check that playlist out, you're more than welcome to. I know there's so much content right now out there to watch though. So today is gonna be quite the undertaking. Today I'm going to be doing a speed reviews on every single product that I purchased this year. I have two full bins of products here. So I'm gonna try and be as speedy as possible. I also posted a speed review on every single makeup product that I did not pay for but still entered my collection this year, whether it be through PR, my sister giving me things, free gift with purchase. I do have a video on that should already be posted, so I'll leave that linked in case you're interested in checking that out. But if you're interested in, there's so many products here. Well over, I didn't do the exact math, but definitely probably over 70 products here. So if you're interested, stay tuned. First, if you have yet to subscribe to my channel and you like project planning content or just chit-chatting about makeup, I'd love if you'd consider subscribing before moving on. And other than that, let's jump into the video. Okay, I do have somewhere I need to be in about 45 minutes, so I need to be as speedy as possible. I prepped my makeup inventory yesterday, and as I was prepping for that, I was kind of sorting out these products. So a lot of these are kind of I think I can go per product category. So we can start with foundation. A newfound holy grail love this year was the L'Oreal True Match Super Blendable Foundation. This is such a beautiful foundation, and it's drugstore price. Whether or not it was drugstore price, I would pay high-end prices for this foundation. I think it's so beautiful. It has a really beautiful medium coverage, but it still looks natural and skin-like on the skin. Very blendable, as the name would suggest, and just really easy to work with, to the point where I have two shades. Granted, one of them was my daughter wanted to purchase foundation to play with, and I made her buy super blendable because I was like, then I can use it too. But definitely one of my favorite purchases. I also have my top 10 purchases of this year, which I'll also leave linked in case you're interested in checking that out. But spoiler, that was one of them. A couple other foundation loves from this year. This is newer, but I have not been able to stop wearing this. It's from Guerlain. It's the Healthy Glow Foundation. This is absolutely beautiful. Again, kind of my sweet spot in that it is more of a medium coverage, but it has this really healthy skin-like glow to the skin. It's more expensive, but I will continue to repurchase this. This is definitely a new favorite foundation in my collection. I also repurchased the Dior Forever Skin Glow, and I've really been enjoying this. Kind of what I've been saying, medium coverage. This one has really good staying power. All of these that I've mentioned have really good staying power as well. Offers, I would say, of all the ones I've talked about so far, this is the glowiest, but it's not super dewy by any means, and it's just really, really beautiful on the skin. This one can be built up to be more full coverage, but it does end up looking a little bit makeup-y if you build it too much. I still really enjoy this. Dior makes some of my favorite foundations, so that was a win in my books. And then I also tried a Lancome foundation for the first time this year. This is the Tint Idole Ultra Wear Care and Glow. I really, really like this. This is probably the most long-wearing foundation that I tried this year. Really enjoy it. Offers really beautiful coverage while still having that healthy skin-like glow that I keep talking about. So I also really enjoyed that one this year as well. I haven't been saying my shade names, but I am not good at picking or matching foundations to my skin, so okay, these are new to my collection. This one I've worn, I think, 4 times. I do have this on my skin today mixed with the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless Filter to add a little bit more glow. It's from Juvia's Place. It's the I Am Magic Natural Radiance Foundation. I will say I like this, but it is a little bit heavier than I typically prefer, and it is a little bit more matte. Even though it says a natural radiance foundation, it's a little bit more matte than I typically prefer, or maybe it's just it's not necessarily matte, but it just looks or feels a little bit more dry on my skin. So I've been enjoying mixing it with the Hollywood Flawless Filter, and I really like it that way. This offers a ton of coverage. Would I purchase this again? I've only used it 4 times, so I honestly don't know, but I definitely the 4 different foundations I mentioned before this, I like more than this one thus far. So if you have more oily skin, I think you would really, really enjoy this though, and it's only $23. And then recently while I was in Vegas, I picked this up, but I have not yet tested this. This is on my radar to test this week, so I can't really give my review on this one. So why I included this, I don't know. It was in my bin of products because I purchased it this year, but it's from Fenty Beauty, and it's the Eavesdrop Blur and Smooth Tint Stick. I will say I pulled my Fenty Beauty Eavesdrop back out, and I just forgot how much I love that, like, skin tint. This was not a win this year. This is from Laura Mercier. It's the Real Flawless Weightless Perfecting Foundation. I thought I was gonna love this, but so it's really thin. It does not feel heavy on the skin at all, but it's almost like a little bit too radiant in that I feel like it just like sinks into all of my fine lines, and even set with a powder, I just don't feel like it looks all that flawless. I feel like I'll set it with a powder and then like the powder just kind of looks cakey, like no matter what powder I use. It's just, I did not love it. I want to try this a couple more times before I officially declutter, but I think I will probably end up decluttering this one, which is such a bummer because I was so excited to try this one out, but it just unfortunately didn't work for me. I also purchased the Sephora Perfection Mist Airbrush Foundation. First time I tried this, it looked absolutely terrible. It was literally peeling off of my face, but I think it was the powder that I was using. I've used this 3 or 4 times since, and it's okay. Nothing spectacular, and certainly nothing to write home about. It is really, really thin on the face and offers kind of like a light coverage. It's really nothing special in my opinion, and I think they might be phasing this out because this was on sale for $8, and then I also purchased it during the VIB sale, so I got an additional 20% off. I thought about decluttering this one as well, and then I used it a few more times, and I was like, well, it's really not that bad. Maybe we'll see it in a declutter in the future, but definitely not a favorite. And then I think the last foundation that I have is from Iconic London. It's the Super Smoother Blurring Skin Tint. I recently saw this on like major sale, I believe, at Sephora. So I'm like, are they getting rid of this? Because I actually really, really like this. It kind of reminds me of the Fenty Beauty Eavesdrops. I feel like it's very blurring and really lightweight. And for a skin tint, it's one of my favorite skin tints in my collection. So I really like that one. Okay, for primer this year, we didn't have a lot of luck. Well, we had 2 really bad primers and 2 primers that were really good. The Tula Filter Primer, the Blurring and Moisturizing Primer, repurchased for me. I really enjoyed this one. There's a couple different shades. It actually has a little bit of pigmentation to it, and it does have a bit of a blur. So if I'm just using, like if I just want to do primer, lashes, and mascara, I'll reach for this, or I'll mix this with like the Drunk Elephant Deep Bronzy drops to kind of like match my skin, especially in the summertime. I love the combination. I feel like this has a slight tack to it. It's definitely not like, it's not a primer I'm reaching for a lot when I'm actually putting makeup over top. It's a primer I'm kind of using this almost as like a tinted moisturizer. That's kind of what I use it for, but I really, really enjoyed this product, and I do highly recommend. And then I tried the Danessa Myricks Yummy Skin Glow Serum this year, and I really enjoy this. It has this really beautiful glowy radiance to the skin, and it almost feels like a hydrogel sort of feeling. Like it has this gel-like consistency, and it just feels extremely hydrating on the skin. It's super comfortable. Probably my favorite hydrating primer at this point in time. So that was a big win. These 2, not wins at all. Peter Thomas Roth Instant Firm No Filter Primer, terrible. Pills. Even if I haven't used skincare, I've tried this every which way until Sunday to make this work for me, and it literally pills every time. Even if I have nothing underneath, nothing on top, pills every time. And then the Undone Beauty Primer Oil is literally the oiliest, greasiest disaster. It's hard to control the amount of product that you're getting out just based on the applicator. There's these like little balls here on the applicator to like make it seem like, you know, you're rubbing away every wrinkle you've ever had, but that indeed does not happen. So that was also a bust. I do actually have a couple more primers, my bad. I have the Iconic London Underglow Blurring Primer. I do really like this. I think it's a really nice primer. Would I purchase it again? Probably not, just because it does blur the skin, but I'm not necessarily ever really looking for like a blurring primer. Like I'd rather have like an actual pore filling primer, and in that case I would lean on the Tarte Timeless Smoothing Primer. It does have a bit of a glow to it as well, but it's nothing special in my opinion. I like it, but it's nothing special. Wouldn't purchase again, but won't have an issue using it. And then from Say, I have their Glowy Super Gel in the shade Sun Glow, which is this really deep kind of bronzy sort of shade. I actually was really not a fan of this product when I owned it in, I believe it was the shade Marshmallow. It made me look like a Tin Man or a Tin Woman, but I really like this. And I use it similar to the way that I use the Drunk Elephant Deep Bronzy Drops, and that I use this when I have a self-tan and I'm trying to match my face to my body. I don't use this underneath foundation. I don't use this as a highlight, but I use this almost as like an all-over face bronzer if I'm just doing maybe no makeup even, or I'm doing brows and mascara and my body is significantly deeper than my face. I'll use this, and I really enjoyed it for that purpose. I think I may even like this a little bit more than the Drunk Elephant Deep Bronzy Drops. I have two sprays that I purchased this year. I have from Youthforia the Skin Moisturizing Setting Spray, as well as the Cali Ray Sunproof Setting Spray. Neither of these are winners in my books. The Youthforia, the mister on this is just way too aggressive, and it almost leaves like water droplets on your face. Like it leaves something there, and I don't love it. I've tried this as like a priming mist, but honestly, like I love to mist my face, but like a priming mist, like are we really spending, like I'd rather just get a water bottle and like spray my face, because I don't need to be spending this. I believe retails for $36. I didn't pay full price for it, but like I don't need to be spending any money to like mist water on my face before I apply makeup. And then from Cali Ray, the Sunproof Setting Spray. This is fine, but I definitely prefer like the Benefit Professional Setting Spray if I'm wanting something that's gonna make my makeup last. This smells like wet dog. I'm actually going to, I have somewhere, like I said, that I need to be, and I do kind of want my makeup to last, but this is nothing special, and it smells like a wet dog, so no thank you. Okay. Concealers, winners. All three concealers that I purchased this year, winners in my books. First, we have this one from Tower 28. This is the Serum Concealer. This looks so hydrating, radiant, and beautiful underneath the eyes. I feel like if you have a lot of like dark circles to cover up, I don't know that this is going to work for you because it's not like the most pigmented, but to add just like a brightness and a hydration underneath the eyes, I think this is absolutely stunning. Then I also have the Natasha Denona High Glam Concealer, and if you are looking for coverage underneath the eyes, I think you'll really enjoy this. I feel like I suffer from, well, I feel like I get really bad creasing no matter what, but this looks beautiful underneath the eyes. And I also feel like I have pretty dry under eyes. I don't feel like this looks exceptionally dry underneath my eyes, so that's also a huge win. I really enjoy that. Both of these I would purchase again, at least as of this point in time. And then I also purchased the NYX Bare With Me Concealer Serum, and I've really been enjoying this as well. It's really nice and hydrating underneath the eyes, really lightweight, kind of reminds me a little bit of the Tower 28 one. The Tower 28 one I think is a little bit glowier, but this just feels so hydrating underneath the eyes. Gives medium coverage, and I think this is beautiful. Plus, you can get it at the drugstore. All right, for powder this year, I purchased 4. Up first, I have the Givenchy Prism Libre powder. This was such a huge win for me this year. I have never found an under eye setting powder that is quite as beautiful as this. It's really nice and brightening underneath the eyes. I personally have mine in the shade 3 Violet Rosé. It is pretty full coverage underneath the eyes. I have not tried this all over the face. I feel like it might be a little bit heavy all over the face, but it just really does such a beautiful job of blurring underneath the eyes without feeling or looking heavy, in my opinion. I just got the mini. This would likely last me a good year using this underneath my eyes just in this size alone. So this is something I will always have in my collection. Like, I feel like that legitimately will be something I always own. It's so beautiful. I had a little mini trial size of the Bare Minerals Bare Pro powder, and I went on to purchase a full size because I just loved the way that it looked on my skin. I believe this is a powder foundation, but I really just use it to set the skin, especially if I'm doing like a tinted moisturizer but I want a little bit more coverage. I love this. It's so velvety and smooth all over the face. It's really nice and blurring as well as perfecting. I just think it's extremely nice. This is something I feel like I will continue to repurchase as well. This is like, I'm for sure. This is like, I probably will. You know, it's like, sometimes you use a product a few times, but you don't like consistently use it for like weeks at a time. But if you do use it consistently, you learn that you either love the product or like, you're just kind of like so-so about it. I'm pretty sure I really love this product, but I haven't like consistently used it for like a month at a time. Okay, and then I have these two powders. So I picked up the Easy Bacon Snatch powder during the Sephora VIB sale. I like this, but I mostly use all over the face. I just don't feel like this looks like, it's not my favorite for all over the face. And underneath the eyes, I'd rather use this. So I'm kind of like, I don't think I would repurchase this. It is kind of brightening in that it has a bit of a sheen to it, but I was thinking that I would really like it because I was like, oh, will it be something similar to like an Hourglass powder where it offers this really beautiful like finishing effect to the skin, and I don't necessarily get that. Maybe I need to keep playing around with it, but I will say this does get pretty bad hard pan, which is kind of disappointing. And as of right now, this is definitely not a powder that I personally would go out and repurchase. I just think there's better on the market that I would recommend over this. And then I also have the Lawless powder. This is a little bit more heavy. It's the Perfecting powder. I have mine in the shade Light. I do like this for all over the face. It is just a little bit heavy and it looks a little bit powdery. Like I feel like I have to mist my face a few extra times, which I'm not complaining about, but I feel like some people would find this a little bit heavy on their skin. It's not like the most natural thing I ever did see. Would I repurchase? Probably not. I think I would go back to the Kosas Air Cloud powder. I like a baked powder all over the face. I like something to set my face that's still lightweight. And I just find these two are a bit heavy. Okay, for bronzer, just shouting this out, I did purchase the Gucci bronzer. I did actually have a gift card and a coupon. I used my like 20% off like one-time use that Sephora gave out, and Emily and I, when we were in Vegas, we went and swatched these. I've never seen the Gucci bronzers to swatch in store, and I'm glad that we did because I was kind of between shade 1 and 2, but 1 would definitely be too light. 2 is definitely more of like a contour sort of shade, and I think 3 is going to be really beautiful. I didn't realize when I ordered it, I actually got like the limited edition packaging. It's so beautiful, but I haven't tried this on the skin yet, but I just wanted to like give it a moment. How's my camera battery about to die? We're gonna go until it does. Okay, what other bronzers did I get this year? Okay, I have the Kosas Beachy Sun Show bronzer. I was so excited about the yellow packaging. A little iffy on the product, and I do feel like this is just a little bit too glowy of a bronzer than my personal preference. I'm gonna give it another try and use it more consistently next spring, summertime when I'm reaching for a product like this, but it didn't turn out to be an absolute favorite, and I would really, really kind of steer you away from this product unless you like a super glowy bronzer. Then I think you might like this. But for me, kind of wish I skipped that. This is kind of just like a wild card product that I really fell in love with. I'm definitely interested in trying more from Give Beauty, but I picked this up during the most recent Sephora VIB sale, and I like have not been able to stop reaching for this. It is the Duo in the shade Toastin', which is the second lightest shade. I will say, for being the second lightest shade, I'm like, this is pretty bronzy. I think it is a really beautiful product though. I will say the powder has a lot of kick up, like it picks up a lot on a brush just with like one swipe, but it's really easy to blend. Again, it is a bit more pigmented. This does offer like a bronze, but I like to be bronzy. I like to be bronzy. And I do really like the cream contour product too. I feel like it's really blendable, really easy to work with, and I'm just so impressed with this product. So this was a win in my books. Okay, I had to switch my camera battery out, so if I move slightly, you know why. The other 3 products are all cream products, and I love all of these. So I have the Makeup by Mario Skin Enhancer. This is so beautiful for a sheer, just to add just a little bit of sheer bronzeness to the skin. I love this for every day, especially if I'm hurrying out the door and I just want a little something. This is a product I anticipate I will continue to repurchase. I have mine in the shade Light Medium. I would be interested in potentially purchasing a shade down, especially as I am in like my fairest time of the year and I haven't been self-tanning as much. This feels like something that might match me a little bit better when I am a little bit more self-tan. But this is such an incredible product. I'm kind of annoyed at myself that I waited so long to purchase that, but I really enjoyed that. I did also finally pick up from Fenty Beauty the Cheeks Out cream bronzer in the shade 2 Butter Biscuit. This is beautiful, really blendable, really thin, just a really great product. I really like this shade. I feel like it's the perfect amount of like warmth without being too warm, and it's just, again, so blendable. I love Fenty so much, obviously. And then from Milk Makeup, I got my hands on the little matte bronzer stick again in the shade Baked. Love it just as much as I used to. Really easy to work with, really easy to blend. I love the shade Baked on Me. Definitely a little bit deeper. Like I shouldn't use it at my fairest, but I'm just so happy to have this back in my life as well. Then I have 4 face palettes. Let's do face palettes next. I have this one from Hourglass. I kind of fell back in love with Hourglass this year. I just feel like as my skin has matured a little bit more, I like something that offers a little bit of glow to the skin. Like I do not like a matte face at all. I really don't like, I can do like a matte bronzer and that's really all I want, to be matte. So I like a finishing powder, and I've been working my way through my like large Hourglass powder. So I wanted to get this trio just to try a few other shades. And I haven't used this a ton because I've been trying to work my way through the other powder, but I really like the Hourglass powders. So there's that. Then I also have the Patrick Ta Major Holiday Face Palette. I actually really have enjoyed this. I really do like the 4 lid topper shades and feel like I will continue to get quite a bit of use out of that. And then I feel like the blushes are very unique to my collection in that I don't really have shades like this. The powders are very powdery and do have quite a bit of kick up. They're very pigmented. And then I do really like the 2 cream blushes as well. A little bit sheer, but still really, really beautiful on the cheeks. And I almost didn't purchase this, but I'm actually really glad that I did. I also purchased from Hourglass the Snake palette this year. This is definitely something that, this is the deepest of the ones that were released. So it definitely will match me more like in the spring summertime, which I kind of knew going in, but I'm really excited about this. Bronzer is really, really beautiful. I really enjoyed these 2 blush shades, and I feel like these are gonna look so beautiful on like the body as a highlight. So do I kind of wish I had gone with potentially a different like palette that maybe would have matched me more all year round? Kind of, but I also feel like the color story of this spoke to me the most. So there's that. And then I don't want to drone on about this because we all know how much I love my NARS face palettes. This is the All That Glitters face palette. I get that every NARS face palette really does look the same, but I want to collect them all. I love the formula so much. I believe these are made in Italy. They're this really beautiful baked formula. They perform so beautifully on the cheeks. They really become like one with your skin, and I just freaking love it. So we all knew that. Let's talk about highlights next. Okay. From Westman Atelier, I have the shade Parla. I do really like these Westman Atelier highlights. I do believe they're overpriced for what they are. They are pretty sheer, but they give that really beautiful wet glossy effect to the cheek. They are a bit sticky, so if you don't set them and your hair blows in the wind, your hair is probably gonna get stuck to your cheeks. So take my review with a grain of salt. Like, I don't think they're gonna be for everyone, but I do think that it's a really beautiful product, and I'm happy to have that in my collection. Another product from Give Beauty that I fell in love with this year is the highlight. I have the shade Platinum Cowgirl. This is definitely a more subtle, like definitely one of my most subtle highlights in my collection, but I really love it for that reason. I talk so much about how much I love a black checkered print as well. Shockingly, I'm not wearing any black checkered print at this current moment, but I really, really love this highlight. It definitely made me more interested in trying more from Give. Trying this is what inspired me to try that bronzer duo. And overall, if you like a really subtle highlight but still like a bit of a glow, I think you'd really enjoy this, so recommend checking out. From Say, I've only used this 3 or 4 times. It's the Glow Sculpt in Pink Glow. I feel like maybe I should have gotten a different shade. I do like a glowier cheek, but on the actual cheeks as a blush, this is almost a little bit too light and metallic for me. Like, it almost looks too light and metallic, but then on like the actual cheekbone, it's definitely too deep. Maybe in the summer it'll match me a little bit better, but not my favorite. Not my favorite, and I can't really give like a review on like, maybe I would like a different shade, but that one just didn't work for me that well. I'm gonna try it again next summer. Maybe I'll try it a few more times this winter, but as of right now, not my favorite. Definitely could have skipped. This I absolutely love. It is from Rare Beauty. It's the highlighter in the shade Mesmerize. Now, I will say this can take you to a very blinding level, but with the correct brush, you really can sheer this out. And because of the formula, this really, really does just like melt into your skin and just gives you the most beautiful glow. And I almost skipped this, but I'm so glad that I didn't. I skipped this, I think, during the spring sale, and then I was like, I need to have that in my life and I'm so glad. If you like a blinding highlight, I highly recommend. If you like something more subtle, I would just be leery. Like, you really do have to work to like buff and sheer it out, but I do prefer a more subtle highlight, and I really enjoyed this, so love that. Okay, moving on to blush. Let's talk about, I have all of my Saie blushes that came into my life, so I'll talk about these all together. I really like this Saie Dewy Blush formula. I think it is absolutely beautiful. My favorite shade right now is probably the shade Baby, which is this really beautiful, like, cool toned baby pink. It almost has like a lavender sort of effect to it, but again, I like a glowier cheek, and this definitely offers like that beautiful, just glossy glow to the cheeks. Sometimes I set this, sometimes I don't. Regardless, I don't think it has the absolute longest wear time, but I still enjoy using it, especially in the summer if I'm not going out for like a full day. It just gives you like these juicy, beautiful cheeks. Love it so much. Okay, took a brief intermission there for about an hour, 2 hours or so, so that I could go to my daughter's Christmas service, and now we are back. So again, if we're in a new space, you know why. Where were we? I do have quite a few more blushes to discuss, but the rest, I believe, well, I have one more cream, and then I have a bunch of powder. This cream blush, new favorite of the year. This is from MAC. It is the Glow Play in the shade So Natural. The only thing I'll complain about is my packaging is like broken, and I can't seem to get it necessarily to like, oh, there we go, fixed. Fixed. Except for now my MAC is upside down. I suppose I could hold it like this. Anyway, this is MAC So Natural. Really beautiful, like warm toned sort of nude blush, which is just like absolute perfection to me nowadays. I freaking love this. And speaking of warm toned nude blush, another new favorite of this year is this one from Laura Mercier. It's in the shade Fresco. This one has, so the MAC Glow Play blush is like a little bit sheeny, a little bit glowy. Same thing with this one from Laura Mercier. There are like micro glitter particles running through it. I don't typically have like glitter particles that show up on my face, but it does offer this really beautiful nude sort of glow to the cheeks, and I have just been so into like a nude blush this year, so really also loved that. Laura Mercier does make a really good blush formula, I will say that, and I do like the MAC Glow Plays. Recently I picked up this one from Iconic London. I believe I saw Angelica talking about this one, and I thought it looked so pretty. This one is in the shade Kissed by the Sun. It looks really deep. And I will say I think I will enjoy this one more in the summertime. This is a very glowy blush, which I do really like a glowy blush, but I think due to the depth of this blush and how glowy it is, it's just something that's going to be better suited to me in the spring summertime. So it hasn't turned into an absolute favorite, but I actually do think I will really love that come next spring summer. Speaking of a blush that is way too glowy, in my opinion, this one from RMS Beauty, I also purchased this year. It's in the shade French Rosé. It's the Redimension Hydro Blush. I feel like if this was a different shade, I might really like it, but it's this mid-toned pink sort of shade, and it just comes off almost like metallic on the cheeks. And for me, it's just not super flattering. I've thought about decluttering it, haven't been able to get myself to declutter it yet. I think I'm gonna try it a little bit more, a few more times, play around with it just a little bit more before ultimately probably decluttering in the future. I did, as I said, I really started to fall back in love with Hourglass this year, so I picked up the shade Sublime Flush in their ambient lighting blushes. This was a blush that was on my wish list for so long back in the day, and then I stopped using Hourglass for a couple of years, but I picked this back up, and this is this really beautiful kind of almost, it looks like it's gonna be this like pinky coral sort of shade as you're looking at it in the pan. On the cheeks, it reads more of like a baby pink, but the Hourglass blushes have this really beautiful natural radiant glow to them, and I love them. So definitely recommend their blushes. A lot of their shades come in a mini. I would always just recommend getting a mini over the full size. From Glam Light, their Scooby-Doo 2 collection came out, and I picked up this blush duo. I'll be honest, I actually didn't reach for this one that much, and I think it's because I was loving like a nude blush this year. I wasn't going for these like bright punchy blushes, even though they were really trendy earlier this year. I do really like this like orangey red sort of shade. It's very, very unique to my collection, and I am excited to pull this back out next spring, summer, but I didn't reach for a ton, so I don't really have a lot to say. Very pigmented though, very, very pigmented. And then the last blush I have is this one from Lawless. It came in a Sephora favorite set. I personally really like the Lawless blush formula. This is in the shade Indian Summer, and I think this is such a beautiful blush for this time of year. I don't know if this is considered, it's a velvet blush. I find this to be mostly matte with like just the slightest hint of like, is it a glow? Is her cheek glowing a little bit? Which I love. So I'm a huge fan of this shade as well. I already own the shade Angel Suede, and I knew I liked the Lawless blush formula, so I'm happy to add another shade to my collection. Oop, there's one more blush that was hiding. It's this one from Danessa Myricks, this cream blush in the shade Bellini. This is extremely pigmented, but I did really enjoy using this one. I purchased this during the Sephora VIB spring sale and got quite a bit of use out of it right away. I think it's such a beautiful shade, especially if you're looking for like an orangey coral sort of blush, which I do really like from time to time. Again, I was leaning more towards like more natural looking blushes, whether that be like a natural nude or a natural coral. But if I wanted a pigmented coral, this gave me that sunburnt coral sort of effect, and I thought it was really pretty. Okay, what next? This eyeliner from the Sephora collection. This is in the shade, I think, lime green. I do really like this. I find that it's like the perfect amount of creamy without being like too tuggy, but it also stays in the waterline a decent amount of time. It is this really beautiful lime green, yellowy sort of shade, which is kind of what I was looking for. I don't know how well you'll be able to see. I like it. I think if you're looking for a shade like this, this is a nice formula. Does everybody need a lime green eyeliner? Probably not. I purchased a set from Benefit, and it came with 3 of their brow products. So you're getting the Precisely My Brow, which I really, really like. I personally like a really precise, like pointed tip, similar to like the NYX Epic Brow, which I also purchased another replacement. I've gone through many of these. I highly recommend. They're my favorite brow pencil because they are the most affordable the most affordable brow pencil that I enjoy. So I find these similar. I probably would just keep purchasing the NYX one going forward. Like, they're similar enough that like I'll just purchase the NYX because it's cheaper. And then it also came with the 24-hour brow setter from Benefit, which I actually really do like. I feel like it does a really nice job of holding the brows, and I really like the applicator for this. There is one side that has more fine bristles kind of all together, and then there's one side that are a little bit more spiky, a little bit pointier, and a little bit more spread out, so you can kind of like comb through the brows in 2 different ways, which I like. And then it also comes with their Gimme Brow, which is like a tinted brow gel. This is fine, but my favorite is still the Undone Beauty Brow Duo. I really like the tinted brow gel that you get with that, so that's personally what I would purchase going forward. I purchased another NYX Epic Ink Liner. This is like my favorite liquid liner. It's so easy to use, and again, you can get it at the drugstore. So I purchased another one of those. There are a few products, you guys, that I did not try. Like, I got this year, but I still have yet to try. For example, the ABH Brow Freeze, which I got in the Sephora favorite set. So there's a few products that like I'm not reviewing today, but like I did purchase them this year. I did get the Ilia Limitless Mascara in the Sephora favorite set. I haven't opened this yet, but it is my favorite mascara of all time. So wanted to recommend that and shout it out. Also, the ABH Clear Brow Gel I got in a favorite set. I haven't opened this one yet, but the ABH Clear Brow Gel has such a strong hold. If you are looking for a strong hold brow product, I don't know of another product I could recommend more than the ABH Clear Brow Gel. I did, what else before we get into lips? I have a couple more eye products. Yes, is this it? Yes, okay. The KVD Dazzle Stick. It's this cream shadow. I have mine in the shade Hail Surge, or Hailstorm, I think. It's a really beautiful champagne shade with a ton of micro glitter running throughout. It's like blue, pink, and silver micro glitter. It's a really, really pretty pop product, very metallic. But I am just not the target audience for this type of product. I do not use a cream shadow that frequently on my eyes, so I probably just shouldn't have bought it, but I did. It does have a good, like I will wash my hands and this swatch will still be here. So it has good longevity, but I just personally, I think it's like $24. I'm not the target audience. If you like a cream shadow stick and you're looking for something very sparkly that's gonna last all day or very metallic, I would recommend that. Another like shadow stick, I picked this one up from ColourPop. It's in the shade Hummingbird, and it is like this like teal metallic. I only use this in the waterline of, like, I got this to be something that I use in the waterline, and I think it's really pretty for a teal eyeliner in the waterline. I find it creamy and it stays like a good amount of time. I have not used it as a shadow, like an actual shadow on my eyes, and I don't think I will, but I do like it as a waterline eyeliner. Also from Fenty Beauty, I picked up the Fly Liner in the shade In Big Truffle, which is a brown. I really, really enjoy this formula. It has a really nice fine tip as well. Very, very easy to work with, if I didn't say it's a liquid liner. And I like this shade in that it's a dark brown, so it's not necessarily as stark as a black. The only thing I will say is this is like absolutely budge proof, so if you make a mistake, it's kind of hard to clean up, and I'm not the best at wings, so sometimes it's like, meh. And then finally, I have these two eye paints from Halsey's brand About Face. So I have the matte shade in, what is this in? Smell Before Rain, which is this really beautiful kind of cool toned brownie gray sort of shade. And then I also wanted to try one of the sparkly shadows or the glitter shadows. So I have the shade Tin Pan Alley, and it's just this really beautiful kind of like white metallic, almost with like green. It has to have green and, yeah, green glitter running throughout. Really, really pretty. Again, I'm just not the target audience for this. I just feel like I had heard so many good things about these products that like I really wanted to try them for myself. There are days where I'm just doing like one shadow in the crease and like I'm out the door, and in that case this works really well for that. I've done it maybe 4 or 5 times, but it's just not a look that I'm doing that frequently. And it's not like I'm gonna lay this down as a base and then go over top. So I'm just not getting a lot of use out of these. They're a really nice product, but again, I'm just kind of not the target audience for them. And then we have so many lip products to end it with, you guys. We can do this first. So I have 2 Fenty Gloss Bombs. I love the Fenty Gloss Bomb and have for quite a while. I really fell in love with the shade Riri this year, which she released when she performed during the Super Bowl, but you can still get this shade. Really recommend. It's a really beautiful kind of like mauve sort of shade. It's so pretty on the lips. And then I also picked up the hologram shade for the holidays, which is this really beautiful, very metallic holographic sort of shade. It has a bit of gold, like white gold on the lips. It's really pretty as well. Riri would be my favorite of the 2, but I really like this formula. And I will say with both of these, sometimes with the Fenty Gloss Bombs, there's certain formulas that have a little bit more gritty texture to them. I don't find that to be the case with either of those 2 shades. I did pick up a couple of shades of the Lawless Forget the Filler this year. We all know I love Lawless Forget the Filler. I don't need to drone on and on. I picked up the shade Juicy Watermelon with the Watermelon collection this year, as well as, I also think I picked up a lavender shade as well, which I didn't grab. But I also picked up Cherry Vanilla, which is such a fun, just sheer red. I think is so pretty. So love those. From Merit, they sent over, no, they did send over, which I reviewed also in that video, but in the Sephora Favorites set, I got the shade, what is this? La Avenue, which is right here, kind of this reddy brown sort of shade. Not necessarily like a shade that I would reach for on my own, but I think it's really pretty, and this formula is really nice if you like something that's a little bit more of like a satin sheen, something that's not going to be totally matte, not going to totally dry down, it's not going to be super tuggy on the lips, really comfortable, and you can really sheer it out. I'm a huge fan of the Lawless lipstick formula, so I do recommend. Right before leaving for Vegas, I did pick up 2 of the Fresh lip balms, the Sugar Lip Treatments, because they were on sale at Ulta, and their formula has changed, and it's not as emollient. It's definitely waxier than it used to be, and it's not as hydrating, so super disappointing. These used to be like my holy grail lip balm. Very expensive, but in my opinion, they were worth it, especially in Minnesota winters, but now not so much. I wouldn't recommend those anymore, unfortunately. I finished all of my Buxom glosses earlier this year, so I picked up another one, and I love the Buxom lip gloss formula. This one is in the shade Samantha, and it's one of their full-on plumping lip polishes. It's just like the OG lip plumping gloss. It is really minty on the lips. It does give this really plump, juicy effect, but it's not painful, and it's extremely long lasting. I really like the shade Samantha because it's this really beautiful pouty sort of nude shade. Highly recommend that. Recently over Black Friday, I picked up from Naturium the Phyto Glow Lip Balm. Okay, I like the applicator of this. It kind of like, it's different than a lot of other lip glosses like this in that it's like a little bit wider, but and I don't know if I have a faulty product or if they're all like this. Oh my goodness, I must have a faulty product because I was just squeezing it and lip gloss literally came out. Oh my gosh, literally, look at that. Okay, I was gonna say, do I have a faulty product? Because it was so hard to like squeeze out this gloss, and it felt really like one of those glosses that was just really sticky kind of, and I didn't love it, but maybe I need to try a different one. That's so unfortunate. Now it's like making a mess. Okay, well, that's awkward. I obviously can't recommend these because this is my only experience with this product, but that is such a bummer. Another lip product I didn't like was this one from Patrick Ta. It is one of the lip plumping formulas, and I felt like this hurt. What is this even called? The Major Volume Plumping Gloss. Didn't like this. Wouldn't recommend unless you like a painful lip plumping gloss, then you probably would really like that. I did actually really like this shade though, which is in the shade, it says 2 cc's. Thought that was nice. Like the shade, not how it felt on my lips. From NARS this year, I picked up one of their Afterglow Sensual Shine lipsticks in the shade Breathless. I do really like this. I think it's a little overpriced for what it is, but it's really comfortable on the lips. Perfect for just like day to day in this shade Breathless, which is kind of like this nude, warm nude. I loved it in the summertime, and I would potentially consider purchasing another. It definitely gives like, it's one of those like lipsticks that give like a shine or like a glossiness to the lips, which I personally really like. But it's really expensive. I think it's like $31 or $35. So I'm like, that kind of feels like highway robbery, but I do also really like the formula. The NYX Fat Lip Oils, I purchased 2 this year. I can only find one. I feel like this is just like a glorified gloss. I don't feel like this has like an oily texture to it. It just feels kind of like a sticky lip gloss. And I wasn't a huge fan. I know a lot of people love this. I personally am just like, I would rather purchase the Milani Fruit Fresh lip oil if I'm purchasing a drugstore lip oil. This is beautiful. I actually think I might put this over top of what I have going on right now just to add a little hydration to the lips. This reminds me so much of the Clarins lip oil. Only difference is that this one is just a little bit thinner, but I'm definitely interested in picking up more shades as I work through some of the other glosses or lip oils in my collection. I also picked up another Fenty Poutsicle. I already owned Strawberry Sangria, but I picked up Zesty Bestie, and I do really like this, especially in the summertime. I thought this was such a fun shade of like an orange, and it kind of gives that like you just ate a popsicle and it stained your lips sort of effect. I think that's so pretty, and I'm a huge fan of these. Not something I feel like I reach for outside of spring, summer, but if you're looking for a pouty popsicle lip stain, I highly recommend those from Fenty. I also tried the Tarte Maracuja Juicy Lip Plump this year in the shade Poppy. This is fine, but it's not something I feel like so passionately about that I think I'll go repurchase. It is annoying that you can only click it up and you can't click it back down, and it is really emollient and a little bit sticky. It's not like painful either, like it's not like a painful plumper. I'd rather use my Lawless Forget the Filler personally. I always come back to that when I do any sort of like lip plumping anything. I always come back to Lawless Forget the Filler. From Cali Ray, I have the Glazed and Infused Plumping Glassy Lip Trip in the shade Taco Tuesday. I actually really like this. It kind of just feels like a lip gloss to me. I don't notice any sort of like painful plumping anything. I feel like Cali Ray is a more expensive brand. I got this in the Sephora favorite set. I'd be curious how much this was like purchasing on its own. I feel like in my mind, this is worth no more than $14. But I do really like the shade Taco Tuesday. And it is like a really nice formula. Like it feels really comfortable on the lips. So you know what? Never say never. Maybe I would purchase again, even if it was over $14. Yeah, it's so comfortable, really thin, extremely smooth, not sticky, and I liked that. And then the last 2 lip products from the Scooby-Doo collection with Glamlight, I picked up this duo, the Daphne duo, and it Comes with a lipstick in the shade Daphne, which is this really beautiful kind of baby pink sort of shade, like mid-toned baby pink. And then this really fun sparkly lip gloss, and also in the shade Daphne, which is just extremely sparkly, and it kind of has like pink and gold sparkle running throughout. I really like this lipstick or lip gloss. It kind of reminds me of the Patrick Ta Is She Younger Than You lipstick or lip gloss, in just that it's so sparkly. I don't know if this is still available, because I know like I believe their collections are limited edition, especially if it's like branded such as it was with Scooby-Doo. But I would consider getting another one of these, or potentially the Velma like gloss if it's just as sparkly, because this really adds something special to the lips, and I really enjoyed reaching for this, especially around like when Barbie was at its peak. I was doing like a pink with this on top, and I loved the effect that that gave. And then the final product I have, you guys, is the Tower 28 mascara. And this is a really nice mascara, except for the fact that it flakes and transfers. So for me, if I want to use this, I have to pair it with a waterproof mascara. So on its own, I feel like I would not recommend this mascara, unfortunately. I do really like the wand. I really like how my lashes look when I put this on. It's like you have this really natural yet like lengthened lash look. Not so much volume, but just like really long lashes, but then it just flakes and transfers. And so that's a bummer. I can't recommend that one on its own. And after that, I have 2 empty bins, and I'm about to lose my voice. It feels like those are all of the products, all of the beauty products that I paid money for to enter my collection this year, and my speed reviews on them. I would love to know in the comments below what were your top 2 and bottom 2 least favorite and most favorite products that you purchased this year. Let a girl know in the comments below. Other than that, thank you guys so much for sticking around to watch today's video and for supporting me and my channel, as you guys always do. I love you guys so much, and I will catch you in my next video. Bye.